Alrighty, let's go ahead and get ourselves together here for just a second, and excuse me, and then we can move along positively with our situation. So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the newsroom and welcome to the Goutopian News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report brought to you by SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company ever. Here we go. Realize I didn't have that inflection at the end of it like I normally do. Got a little bit of a cold going here. Anywho, but we back at it. We still in it. Well, now it's the time of year where I usually get to catch a cold or something too anyway, so it is what it is. Anywho, so what are we here talking about today? Oh, we're going to be talking about DSP and how drama was a means to an end. You know what I'm saying? He did what he had to do to survive and to bring himself up to code, up to standard, if you will, and better his situation. I.e., DSP is basically saying that he was willing to dance with the devil to benefit his community. He sacrificed himself and his soul and his purity so his community could somehow prosper and move along. You know, those things are usually like 7-year deals, right? Whatever. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and delve into this by going into one of my favorite segments. Hopefully one of your favorite segments as well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my TED Talk. So, DSP using drama as a means to an end. Just another way to fulfill his goals. And, you know, he had to do it that way because it was the path of least resistance. And also it gave him the means to produce a better product for his current audience and to also to present himself to a whole new audience. So I guess this is part of the justification of the snakening, I guess. And the utility of drama content, which, to be honest with you, it's all utilitarianism. If you don't have a use, you're just in the way. And this was no different with Kino Casino, and with that whole arc, or at least that's how he's trying to present it. The reality is, DSP wasn't good at the drama. He was very keen on letting them talk all the shit, and then him kind of just, you know, in the back with his little piggy's arms crossed, covering up his piggy titties, and him kind of, you know, co-signing some of it, but not enough to where he's fully engaged and reap the benefits. And that's all it was. The only thing he really committed with, so to speak, was the Review Tech USA shit. And even then, that was lame as fuck, and you can literally throw that away, because when he did the 666 podcast later on, he brought out the same poker chipset, I should say, and then threw Kino Casino on there and tried to present that shit to Rich, like Rich was a fucking idiot. He is an idiot, but an even bigger idiot apparently, and thought he was just going to go for it hook, line, and sinker. I'm stunned. But yet again, what is it that I've tried to tell you? The way DSP does anything is the way he does everything. That's what this is. And more importantly, if you really look at this whole means to an end, it makes you wonder what his overall plans were for side scrollers. Truth be told, I could go even further than that and say, maybe, just maybe, you might want to think about this, because I'm not sure if you guys have realized it or taken this into account, that Kino Casino, PPP, or Triple P as I like to call him, and Andy Worski were nothing more than a replacement for John and Howard, which is something that DSP has wanted for years, and he could never really have it. Just like Cat was no more of a replacement for Panda. And he tried to exploit Panda, or Cat, sorry, in the exact same way that he exploited Panda. He tried to create scarcity, and then he tried to force people to pay for it. With PPP and Andy, he saw a group of people that were obviously had their strengths and weaknesses, and they had their enemies and their advocators, and he thought he could reap the benefits from the people who give them money while trying to skirt responsibility for association, guilt by association, basically. And truth be told, I honestly think they were supposed to be a pseudo replacement for John and Howard. I think Stuttering Craig and side scrollers was his main target. That was supposed to allow him to get back into the quote unquote mainstream, right? And go from there. And that was supposed to basically clean up his image. They were supposed to be the real replacement for John and Howard, so to speak, or of that friend group, so to speak. And even if side scrollers decide to go into politics, he'd have been cool with it because they're still talking about games. He can give his milquetoast fucking fence sitting fucking opinions as it pertains to the politics, and then he can skirt along, collect his little payment after each show or at the end of the week or end of the month or whatever the fuck, and then he can just move on. So when you really think about or talk about a means to an end, what are we really talking about here? Where are we really going with this? And what was DSP's real end game? Let's see if we can explore those options now. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And let's see here. Let's get ourselves all set up. Let's see here. DSP playing chess here. We have ourselves a bit more of a. Nah, let's go here. No, let's not go there. I want to go. Yeah, let's go there. Let's go there. Let's do that. Let's do that. And let's find our video in question. Let's see here. Damn, I really haven't gone over any of the Iron Sakai shit yet. Iron Chef Sakai stuff. Damn, that's crazy. I haven't gone over any of the fucking that guy either. I'm not even sure if I really want to get into that. PWR has never really gripped my interest. Honest, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll delve into that. We'll see what's what. Okay, so let's get ourselves
there.
Going here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and set the situation off right. We're here with Raw Phil and Diggs cut this up. Big ups to Raw Phil and Diggs. Let's see here. Here we go. Darksydephil speaks on drama and a means to an end. This was from March 20th of 2025. Our year of the snake and the snakening. King Snake, Snake Eater, and so on and so forth. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
Their return to roots Assassin's Creed Mirage that was super short and then very short-lived, or Star Wars Outlaws, which they put basically all their eggs in one basket, expecting it to be their bestseller last year, and it massively flopped because it was basically a buggy, boring mess. Man, I just don't know what's going to happen anymore. You know, I go into these games. All right, here we go. Let's play. Oh.
The funny thing is I don't know what the actual statistics are on how many games he's dropped throughout this calendar year. I'm recording this in September 2025. I don't know how many games he's dropped, or more importantly than that, just the game. Not only the number of games, I should say, that I think he's dropped is important. But how far along was he in the progression of each one of those games when he dropped it? I think that's even more fascinating. But that's just me. But I feel like that right there in itself may speak a larger picture, because I feel like he's dropping at least 2 games a month. Now, I might be being generous and it may be a lot larger than that. Or maybe I'm not giving him enough credit. Maybe it's not nearly as much. But I won't say he's dropped more games this year than he has any other year, but he has dropped a lot of games. he's certainly dropped a lot of games. We've wage quit quite a few playthroughs. So, and I think, honestly, not to put that on Kino Casino, but I also think that he had high hopes that he could become a talking head type situation, and he could pull himself away from games. And I think that's what 2025 really represents. Him wanting to really pull away from gaming and really be able to sit there and talk, which is something that his detractors, trolls, haters, and critics do quite well, to be honest. And I think he looks at them, he looks at their views, and he looks at whatever. He's like, well, fuck, I can do that. But what does he really have to talk about, and what can he really bring to the conversation? He hates gaming. He doesn't know shit about sports. He barely watches movies. He don't know shit about relationships and whatnot. He doesn't have really anything he can add to. And now, if you decide to go the talking head route, and this is very important, let's say about the FGC, now he's going to have to be able to answer to shit. And he don't want to do that. He wants to throw his pop shots out there and then hide behind a filter or have some type of cover. And that's why he was hyper-focused, and I think he still is. He's hyper-focused on Button Check, or Ernesto. That's why he was so hyper-focused on him. he thought he would be his way in, and he would be his cover. So he can go ahead and throw his strays out. He thought fucking Ernesto would sit there and put the word out. And then when the criticism comes, Ernesto blocks the shit. Or he blocks most of it. And then DSP chooses what he can address later in video form. And that's just not what that is. Because he really don't want to talk to none of those guys in the FGC. That's the reality. He really don't want to get into a DM or get on Discord and actually talk to any of those guys. Because they're going to hear the fear that's in him. They're going to hear his desperation. And more importantly, DSP can't handle rejection. He never really has. It's the reason why he don't want to talk to anybody on the phone. Everything has to be through email or text. It lightens the blow. But that's my own personal theory. Not exactly a Theo theory, but that's my personal theory.
If anything, I will say this. Most games look good today. Like, I will admit, the graphics have pretty much improved massively, right? Like, Star Wars Outlaws looked good when you were in the indoor areas. Even Giant Age Veilguard, I thought looked amazing on the PS5 Pro. But the problem is the gameplay. They just don't know how to make good games anymore. So, let's see. I'm really
not like he was ever good at games, period. And then his obsession with graphics is actually really fascinating, which all that really stems from is all those years pointing a fucking camera at a camcorder at the fucking TV and him being shit on it, being shit on for it for years by detractors and his audience alike. And he's never been able to shake it. So yet again, in a lot of ways, his idea of, oh, look at everything around me. Look at how I've updated the webcam, which he didn't. Someone bought that. How I've updated, how I got all this stuff behind the scenes now behind me. I've got the soundproofing. I have the PCs running damn near till fucking nuclear and shit to give you guys all these better graphics. You guys can't tell me the content isn't any good, but the content's still trash. Just because people can see your dumbass in fucking 1440 or even 4K doesn't give any validity to the content. The content's still trash. You're trash, the way you play games are trash, the way you present games are trash. In the story. No graphics upgrade or upgrades to your set, your office, whatever the fuck you want to call this cope, changes that. This is the reality that we all live in. We accepted that a long ass time ago. But DSP didn't. He's still back in 2008, 2010, 2012, 13, and he's still fighting that. Current Phil is still trying to fight for past Phil, which is weird because any other time he would just throw all the slop on him and let him deal with it. But he's still fighting that fight. The reality is the battleground's in his own head. He hasn't the body's dead. The brain just hasn't caught up yet.
excited to see how it goes today.
Or actually, I guess really still the way. No, I'm right. Because he's kind of just fighting phantoms. So I'm right. The body's dead. The brain just hasn't caught up yet.
And give you my honest take on day one, day two. You know, probably what I'll do, maybe at the end of today, I'll do like a highlight of, hey, here's my day one thoughts on Assassin's Creed Shadows. And maybe follow up on that over the course of the week, because so many people are on the fence about this game, wonder if they should play it or not. So that's a big part of today for sure. You know, excited for that. Now later tonight,
I love the fact that he thinks that people value his opinion. I love that. I really do. I love that because for me personally, his staunch belief that anything he says has value is one of the more fascinating aspects about him, more than his whole persevering to get up and do this every day. He overvalued himself. He always did. And remember, DSP's primary objective is validation. His need, his want, his hunger to feel important, to feel like his voice matters, even though realistically he knows it doesn't. And that's the reason why he's more reactive than proactive. I don't even know if he knows how to be proactive, to be honest with you. He's more reactive than anything. And that need will never be filled. No pun intended. But that need will never be filled. He'll always be looked at as a social reject. He'll always be looked at as a fucking dent. He'll always be looked at as an outlier. He probably wants to be looked at as an outsider. Big ups to the outsider. But I think he wants to be looked at that. But he's really just a social reject. You know what I'm saying? You're not someone who goes against the grain. You're a defect. You're a flaw. You're an anomaly that has already been classified and has already been identified and classified. And now you're only there to be used by other people. Like how the gaming industry uses them or uses him unofficially as their registered retard to be like, oh, what yellow paint do we need to throw here? What button should we have mapped out that will send an invisible arrow to go this way, or to so on and so forth? What treasure, no matter how large or how small, do we put halfway through to keep people engaged, to keep going through and finishing that level? That's what DSP represents to gaming. That's inherently what he brings to the table. And that wasn't something that I deemed as relevant or important or of value. The game industry did that. They somehow figured out a way to use his incompetence and turn it into what they felt was valuable data to dumb down and water down games in some ways. It's absolutely fascinating if you think about it. You know what I mean? If you give it just a little bit of thought, it's really kind of wild. So when you look at that GDC situation, I think it's far deeper than maybe we give it credit for in some ways. I don't know. It might make a great conversation piece one day.
Tonight, Smart Guys, my wrestling commentary show, will go on and on DSP Reacts and on Kick. And ladies and gentlemen, you ready for this? Tonight on the show,
his Chris Chan jacket. Well, he has another one that looks a lot closer to Chris Chan than that, but it's close enough for at least right now, anyway, to serve my purposes at the very least.
I will be doing it solo, but I have a big, major...
And he couldn't carry it. That's what I love about that, too. As soon as PPP bounced, views dropped off, support dropped off. He couldn't carry the show worth a damn. He's a lot like Wings. He needs to be able to bounce off someone. He can't actually stream by himself. And there's a lot of people like that, actually. Well, not a lot, but there's a good amount of people that are like that. They need to be able to bounce off somebody else. And that's where Wings' shortcomings are. He can't bounce off people. He needs to bounce off people. He can't do it on his own. Because if he's left to his own devices, he's going to end up exposing himself or saying something stupid, or the trolls get the best of him. He needs that extra level of emotional support, theoretically. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it's a prerequisite, if you will. It's something that needs to be part of a package deal. You know what I mean? But Wings is so scared now that he really don't even really want to talk to other people anymore, which is actually kind of ironic. But neither here nor there. But DSP is the exact same way. You know what I'm saying? For someone who fucking blabbers on as long, because I blabber along, so I can say that too. But but the fact someone that blabbers along the way he does, if you put him in a certain type of subject matter that he's, especially one that he don't have any experience in, he needs to be able to bounce off other people. Smart Guys was just another way of PPP showing range. And he did. And he did it with damn near nothing. I have to give him a lot of credit for that. He pulled it off with damn near nothing to show for it. He was working with dirt. And he made it worthwhile for a while. And truth be told, he showed that he has far more range. He has far more dedication to wrestling than DSP does. DSP is a poser. He's a fake. He's a fraud in everything. Not just in wrestling, in the FGC, and in anything else that he's shown a bit of interest in, which isn't very much. It's a very short list. That's what PPP showed. That's what PPP proved, inadvertently or not. So the fact that we don't have Smart Guys now, even though he had sat there and hyped that shit up. Oh, I haven't spoken about wrestling and I haven't watched wrestling in 5 years. I haven't talked about it in almost a decade or whatever. And, I'm looking forward to coming back. Oh, I have all these grandiose plans about Raw, then SmackDown, then TNA. And then maybe we can go into NXT, and maybe we can do this, and maybe we can do AEW, and all bullshit. Bullshit. He was never going to be able to come through on any of that unless PPP was there to hold his hoof each and every fucking step of the way. And that in itself, ladies and gentlemen, I think is even more fascinating and fantastic too. That was peak entertainment. Holy shit! I gotta talk to Dwight about that actually. That might be a fun play.
Announcement about the future of the show. All right, I am going to basically get you guys pretty hyped because I've got some major positive stuff to announce for the future of Smart Guys. And so you're not going to want to miss the show. If you like wrestling commentary and you want to know about, gee, what's going to happen now because it's in flux right now with what you're doing.
But also too, another thing, and I talked to Proper about it. I don't know if I've talked to Dwight about it or not, but I always thought that Smart Guys was going to end as soon as WrestleMania came about. I never thought it was going to go past that. Honestly, even if the snakening had happened or didn't happen, I think honestly when WrestleMania happened, he wasn't gonna want to do it. To be honest, the influx of money that would have had to come in would have had to been pretty crazy, and that's why I think he leans so heavily on detractors buying into the Grill Fill segment, because if they get all the money front loaded from the Grill Fill segment, and then the wrestling commentary, finishes the show off, and if people bounce out, who cares? Because they already got paid for the job, more or less, and then they could try to draw in the new people who really care about wrestling on the back end, and it just didn't happen that way for various reasons, obviously.
All of your questions will be answered tonight, and I think you're going to like what I have in store for you. Okay? Hopefully. Okay. All right? And of course, we're going to talk about Raw and SmackDown, which was big this week. Oh my God, the John Cena promo was epic, and more. It's going to be a very exciting show.
And another thing too, I had said that PvP really showed DSP's lack of a lot of things, but it also exposes that DSP doesn't actually know how to format a show. To be honest with you, that's based on one singular topic. He can't format. He didn't know how to talk about the beginning of the match, how the story that was being told. He really only cared about the start and the finish. He didn't care about what happened in between. You know what I mean? And that right there in itself, I think, speaks a lot. Think about DSP Tries It. He only cares about the first bite and then the last bite if he can finish it. He doesn't really care about much of anything else. If the presentation looks off to him, meaning i.e., if it doesn't look like what it looked like in the advertisement, he's mentally already got a bad situation about it. Even if the food's actually good, it doesn't really matter because it didn't live up to the presentation that he was buying into. That right there is another fascinating aspect too, to be honest. Because most people have the realization that what you see is not always what you're going to get. But for DSP, it has to be immaculate from start to finish. If not, it was a fail. And that's probably why he does so many chargebacks through DoorDash. Yet again, it's a theory. Not necessarily a theory, but it's just a theory.
I hope you'll join me tonight on Smart Guys, okay? Good stuff. All right. So, oh man, where do we begin? Really, where do we begin? I guess here's what we'll do. Let's do some shout outs because some contributions have come in. Then we'll talk about where we are with our goals and everything, because I definitely want to get back on track today. All right, I understand. Listen, this week, we actually had great momentum at the beginning of this week. And then
he really loves that Gouty Nazi salute too. It's really strange. Even though it's not in an angle like you would expect it. I mean, he's too lazy and he doesn't have the arm strength for it. But he really loves that salute. He really, really does.
We got derailed by bullshit. The bullshit's done. Now we're going to get back on track. So today, let's get going. Let's do some shout outs. Let's actually start with tips today.
And that's another thing too. I think people forget the struggle session he had. Struggle sessions, I should say, more than one, that he had after PPP left. Like, even to this day, he's still struggling. You know what I mean? It wasn't as easy. He didn't have the confidence. He didn't have the arrogance he had when he was with PPP and Kino Casino. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have any of that. All that quote-unquote glow or aura, he don't have any of that anymore. As soon as they left, all that left with it. And he's kind of just been running on fumes ever since. Trying to make it seem like, oh, well, it wasn't just a stimulus package. I was a part of it too. I was growing along with it. You were seeing the best of me with that. It wasn't just Kino Casino doing all the heavy lifting, when I beg to differ.
So we start with a $2 tip If you stare long enough into the abyss stares into you is a famous quote by Friedrich Nietzsche. I forgot how to pronounce this guy's name. Nietzsche? Warning against becoming corrupted by the darkness or evil that one confronts. So never touch any drama ever again, says Flatman B. Yeah.
He was already deep in the abyss anyway. That's kind of what that situation is. He was already knee deep in his own abyss, let alone what that had. He would never have been able to survive in Andy and PPP's world, right? That's like that sector, or the sector, I should say. He wouldn't have lasted over there, not at all. He can't thrive over there. You know what I'm saying? He's already drowning where he's at. So if nothing else, Kino Casino showed how much mileage you can get out of DSP if you do it in a certain type of way. And then what makes it even more ironic is they hated every moment of it. You know what I'm saying? Andy especially, he wanted out from damn near day one for the most part, when he saw that DSP really wasn't showing any effort, nor did he want to. DSP wanted the coast, and Andy was able to pick up on that. So he wanted out. And he just looked at him as a pretty annoying person. He wasn't funny. He didn't have any redeemable qualities. It wasn't a fact that DSP looked into the abyss. It was the fact that the abyss looked into him. And they saw nothing of value. That's the part that I think hurts DSP more than anything.
You know, it's like they say. There is how can I say? Actually, I don't even know what to say. Anyway, yeah, my mind is so addled, and basically I just...
What's wrong with you? Why are you so emotionally attached to all this? And that's what this is. It's emotional attachment. He hasn't gotten over the fact that it's over. He had high hope. The DMs prove this, but he had high hopes with those people, as he does with most people who show him the smallest amount of kindness. And now that it's gone, he feels like he's less of a person. There's less chances of validation. And the realization is still, he can try to put on the fucking, you know, the brave face, if you will. But the reality is that he's lonely. And the reality is he's scared. He's back on his own all over again. That whole one-man band, one-man army, fuck all that. The reality is he doesn't want to be alone. He wants interaction with people, but he doesn't know how to do it. Everything has to be a scheme, right? Everything is a Montreal screw. Let's say a screw job. Let's say that it doesn't have to be the Montreal screw job, but everything has to be a screw job. Either you genuinely like him and care about him to the point where there's no reason why he would ever think you would screw him over, or you're setting his ass up from the beginning. He doesn't look at the world as anything different. He doesn't. He could never rationalize that his parents could very well be disappointed in him. They still love him. They still love him, but he can never fathom that they could ever be disappointed in him. It's like that.
Don't really care about it anymore. I just want to relax with you guys and enjoy the future that
You're coping hard as shit. Instead of seeing the situation for what it is, put up a defense mechanism, find something else to try to fill that hole or that void for the time being until he can feel better and get his confidence back, which he never really did.
I always wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like, take a look at where we are right now. Compare where we are right now, okay, to maybe a year, 2 years ago. Okay, be honest. Think about where
hoping hard as shit. Now we have to lean on the materialistic shit now. Because the sentimental shit's gone. The moral shit is gone. Not that he has any morals anyway. Now let's lean towards the physical shit, the stuff that he can touch, if you will. That, hey, I did a good thing because I own this and I'm touching it and I'm holding it. This proves that it exists, and that proves that what I did was a good thing. Look at this right here. You see this, right? So this proves that I did a thing and it was a good thing, hence the reason why I have it. Stuff like that.
we are March 20th, 2025 versus maybe where we were March 20th, 2023. I would argue much better positioning with everything that's now available to us.
Oh, only if he knew what was going to happen later on in later on in the year. He really thought he was gonna break away, or he was gonna pull a snakening on the casino. And he was just gonna walk away clean. He really thought that. I mean, he's emotionally and hurt and sentimentally hurt. That's obvious. But he really thought he was gonna be able to walk away from those people. He thought he was gonna be able to walk away from that situation and still be able to reap the benefits of everything that they gave him. That's fantastic. I gotta tell you. And this is why I love the old stuff, because boy, oh baby, or boy, oh boy. I may have been late. But that doesn't mean that I still didn't bring any value to the table. Just incredibly late. Just incredibly late.
And all the things that we can do. Just think about this. I have a high-end gaming PC that is able to do pretty much anything that I need, right? And that has opened up the world to me, not only all these games, but, indies and all kinds of other projects and things that I can now do.
So too bad about that mini PC, huh? That's unfortunate about that.
I have a new capture and streaming PC that is incredibly high quality, massively upgraded visuals. I have all these bells and whistles. I have lighting. I have cameras. I have all these new things that have opened up new content, such as being able to build Legos and do other things on camera.
Oh, you sad little monkey. You sad little monkey. Oh boy, in a prison of your own making, but it doesn't matter because what? You have a bunch of toys around you, and that you can still have a couple bundles of bananas around you at any given time, and that's it. And you're it's not even a gilded cage, but you're content with what little you have. And it really is very, very little. It's really nothing in the grand scheme of things. It's really, really sad. It's really, really pathetic. You ain't made all that money for all those years. You could have had all of this years ago. But what did you do? You couldn't afford it. You were mad that you couldn't afford it. Then you said, oh, well, all that stuff is overhyped anyway. And all those people who have it takes away from the actual streaming, the actual ambiance. He never used the term ambiance because he probably doesn't know what it is. But it takes away from the ambiance, the atmosphere of actual streaming itself. It's nothing more than a distraction, which just goes to show that those streamers aren't shit anyway. These are things that DSP's actually said and whatnot. And he follows suit the first chance he got. The first chance he got to go ahead and level up, if you will. That's funny. The first chance he got to level up, so to speak, he followed in the exact same trends as the people before him. Even though he had sat there and bashed those people and those methods beforehand. Because what, ladies and gentlemen? Because he couldn't afford it? Oh, I can't have nice stuff, so fuck all that. That stuff's garbage anyway. You don't need it. That's how he reacts. That's how he responds. But the first chance he got, he was right there sucking dick with everybody else. Imagine that.
I wouldn't have been able to do before. DSP tries it is just so much better now, right? Because of the upgrades that I've gotten, right? But in addition to that, at this point, right now, not only am I just the guy who plays games, but I have a podcast that people actually tune into every day and enjoy and support. I've got other avenues of stuff that I'm doing. For example, we've got the wrestling commentary show back after so many years retired. It's back.
And look at how quickly that fell by the wayside.
Back, and people are interested in it and watching it and supporting it. We've got other projects like I love these indie game nights that we're doing. That's something that
after shitting on indie games for years because what? Oh, I don't have a PC that runs it well enough. Even though the components in the PC weren't properly connected. And if he had done a Google search and or listened to the people that were around him who did have some competency in it, he could have fixed it. Then he didn't know how to do settings because he's fucking a retard and whatnot. He was too lazy to figure that shit out. So he didn't want to do that too. So we got a hardware and a software problem, and he didn't know how to tackle it. If it doesn't work right out of the box, it's not worthwhile, which is the reason why he didn't like PC gaming in the first place. With a console, all he has to do is plug it into the power source and then go. That's what it was. And that was literally his excuse for a number of years on not to play PC games. Now all of a sudden, oh, now it's a whole new world. Shut that shit up. Shut that shit up. You're useless. That's what it is. It's not you can't learn anything because you can't learn anything. You don't have the mental capacity or the dexterity to do it. That's what it is. I saw you fumble for how many hours just over fucking mods? Mods! You fucking serious? And I'm supposed to take you seriously like you know what the fuck you're doing. But then this is the same guy who advertised himself as, hey, I used to build PCs in his basement and have LAN parties and shit, and he's one of them. You know what he sound like? He sound like an emotional bitch who's looking for a place to belong and can't fit in. And he's so fucking socially stunted that he may be able to manipulate a bunch of dents and making them believe that he's above them. But when it comes to normal people, he's anything but. That's what it comes across. It's a sad little man, and I use the term man loosely, who's looking is longing for some type of actual companionship, I suppose. But in the end, he's so goddamn paranoid that everybody's going to screw him over or everybody's going to backstab him that he'll never really be able to commit. Just because Rich can pump a bunch of fucking kids into fucking Lauren doesn't mean that he wanted to marry that bitch. He wanted to be able to point to and say, oh, see, I'm not a loser. I was able to produce kids, but you couldn't fucking pull the trigger and fucking actually put a ring on that chick's finger. That's what that is. And then what? You're on a bunch of apps trying to order the next piece of fucking, the next piece of pussy you can get your hands on. If you're not paying for it, ain't no proof of that. Then we got that shit that was going on in the Discord, Rich, with you exchanging gay porn with some other dude. I don't know what life that's about. I'm starting it out there. You know, it'd be interesting to see what Derek's DMs look like with fucking DSP. I'd be interested in seeing what that might look like, or what some of those email exchanges may have said. That'd be something interesting to see. Saw what happened with Rich. You know, Wings doesn't mind being on page 5 of his trans porn shit. Who knows what DSP's doing behind the scenes? I mean, he has his BBC fetish, which apparently hasn't gone nowhere. He's still living that life. But who knows what other degeneracy he's into? Who could say?
I've never done before, and now we're delving into indie games, and it's just so exciting and fun and chill. I like our chill atmosphere, and I like our community. You know, I do. I just love coming to work every day. I legit do. And this is something that, 2 years...
If you have to keep saying stuff like that, it's obvious that it's not true, which is really sad, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? It's really, really sad. Fucking A.
Ago was floundering. 2 years ago, it was like...
That's funny. I thought 2 years ago, everything's going great. Everything's going fine. Losers like me are lying and sitting there coping because our lives are miserable. Everything's great. And everything is moving along positively. Now you're saying 2 years later, everything was floundering? Who's the real liar in this situation? Who's the person who's really mentally ill? Don't worry. I'll wait.
Well, I'm going to try this new React show and see if it works. And I'm going to try to do this and that. But man, I'm on my last legs. I'm barely making ends meet.
2 years ago, we were barely making ends meet. That's what he's saying. 2023, he was barely making it. Boy, oh boy. So what does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? It means that I was correct when I called it the Kino Casino stimulus package. That's what it was. That's what it is. That's what it always will be. So all this talk about, oh, I want to make $3,000 on my own and this, that, and third, it's just his gouty way of throwing off the shackles and saying that he's his own man now. Not proving shit to anybody. Maybe at the end of the day, the only person he cares about proving anything to is himself. You're a prisoner to your own mind. Do you really care about the rest of the prison guards that are walking around you, staring at you? Do you really care about all the other people walking past your exhibit, pointing and laughing at you? Sometimes his only escape, which was his own head, has now become a much larger prison, and he don't even see it. He really don't even see it. We like to joke about DSP as a prisoner to his own streams, which is true, to this little niche part of the internet, which is also true. But the reality is DSP is a prisoner in his own mind. He'll never escape because the outside world is too scary. He's barely able to function online with that part of society. Remember, the internet's the internet, it's not real. He can barely function in that digital society. Barely. The only thing left, his final frontier, if you will, is his own head. And you know shit ain't right in there. If you were to feel bad for Phil Burnell, DSP, Darksydephil, Dark Geppetto, that might be a reason. I'm not. Fuck him. Fuck him. But for those of you who have like a soul and morals and values and all that stuff, you know, all that, you might have a reason to feel bad. I'm not saying that you have to. I'm not saying that you should. I see how you could.
No, I'm not. All my stuff's outdated, and I don't know what I'm going to do, right? It was just so different. So, I guess the...
No. Let's bring that back. Because I'm petty. And I'm going to earn my place in hell. So let's bring that part back.
Works, and I'm going to try to do this and that, but man, I'm on my last legs. You know, I'm barely making ends meet. I'm not... all my stuff's outdated, and I don't know what I'm going to do.
Oh, boy, this is what Cartman must have felt like.
You know, I do. I just love coming to work every day. I legit do. And this is something that, 2 years ago was floundering. 2 years ago, it was like, well, I'm going to try this new React show and see if it works. And I'm going to try to do this and that. But man, I'm on my last legs. You know, I'm barely making ends meet. I'm not, all my stuff's outdated and I don't know what I'm going to do. Right? It was just so different. So I guess the point is.
So what do we take away from that, ladies and gentlemen? That's how he felt in 2023. You go back to 2023, he was talking all kinds of hot shit. He was talking all kinds of hot shit. Like right around the corner, all he needs is that one new game to come out to be super hype, and DSP Gaming is right back on top. Hey, this one, let's go ahead and try to hit the goal and whatnot, and I'll do this one event, and everybody's gonna love it. And it's gonna. He always made it sound like he was literally just 1 or 2 steps away from being back on top. He was always trying to reassure people that he was doing just great. He's doing just fine. Him and Kat are doing fantastic. I want you to actually, let me bring Kat into the situation. The proverbial elephant in the room, if you will. Just more of an oversized horse. It's funny how things were floundering. He was struggling, all this shit 2 years ago. So what was Kat going through then? How was Kat dealing with all that? He's so quick to talk about himself. He's so quick to talk about his situation. How did that actually affect the Burnell household? How was the Snort fort faring for Catherine and Jasper? I'm just asking. He said he was struggling, barely making ends meet. So tell me what your life's like. How was Kat dealing with it? Did she have to pick up more hours? Did she have to stress herself out even more? Tell me what your life's like. Is that your justification on why Jasper couldn't get a blood test? And he was running around with all those urinary tract infections and shit? And him randomly throwing up behind the bed and in the hallway and all that different stuff like that? Was that your justification behind that? You didn't have the money to fix all that? Tell me what your life's like. Why did you sit there and keep going on stream each and every day and saying that, hey, everything's fine, everything's great, I love how everything's going, and things will get better as long as you guys keep helping or keep supporting? But yet 2 years in the future, you're sitting here bitching and complaining about how you didn't know what the fuck you were going to do, and you're basically at wit's end. I'm just asking. For a friend.
In summary, as we're moving on here, yes, I guess in a lot of ways, drama was a means to an end. But I got the end result that I wanted, so why do I have to dwell in drama forever? I don't. And I think that was the point that I've been trying to make all along.
You're retarded. You're basically saying, I was fucked up bad for 2 straight years before the Kino Casino stimulus package showed up. Now that I have the package and I'm reaping the rewards of it, and now I don't really want to deal with them anymore because we find out later on, ladies and gentlemen, that they failed him because they couldn't secure the co-ops, collaborations, I'm sorry. They couldn't secure the collaborations that he wanted with the people he wanted, right? And they couldn't come up with any better ideas to make him more money, which is the reason why he snaked them, on top of the fact that they were already going to snake him anyway, and he already knew that, and he was already prepared for it. Semantics. Now that he realized that, you know, I've already made my money off of it, I'm going to go back to the same floundering, failing bullshit that I'm doing anyway. You having access to PC games doesn't change the fact that you yourself are trash at games. The fact that you have better lighting, you have better cameras, this, that, and the third, doesn't change and or improve how you carry yourself or how your wife and Jasper are. You're gonna put them into what, 1440 and show us exactly how bad they are, how bad they look, how much suffering they've gone through for the past 2 years. You really thought this was a flex? Okay, okay, sure. Choose your own fantasy.
Is that if you force yourself into a situation and you can't get out of it, you're gonna lose yourself. And that's legit what I was worried about, was getting involved in this community, getting involved in this sector, and then saying, well, that's it. Now I'm just there forever. And now I'm going to lose all of my audience and all that. And the good news is I didn't. I could have. Because if I went in head first, feet first, diving in.
Shut that shit up. You couldn't survive there. You're not built. You're not built to do that shit. Even the lowest rungs of the sector could run through you ruckshot, to be honest. If you and Cog actually got into it, I think Cog could actually beat you. I honestly think. I'm not talking about a fight here and shit. I'm talking about if they actually decided to throw zingers at each other. I'm pretty sure Cog could win that. At the very least, given how often Cog has gotten beaten down over the years, he should be able to at least be able to fight off DSP. At the very least, he should be able to handle that. You know what I'm saying? That shouldn't be too difficult. And Cog is known as a tryhard. Holy fuck. He's known as a tryhard. So he should be able to settle Phil up easy. That shouldn't have even been a problem. So you diving into what? You were just going to ride Kino Casino's coattails anyway. And even then, Steven from Truth Seekers is a far better third. He's a far better third chair anyway. So what are you talking about? Which, ladies and gentlemen, that might be another justification for the snakening. Steven. You know what I'm saying? The dude from Truth Seekers. People were far more receptive to him than they were to DSP. DSP probably thought or got it in his head that, hey, this guy could very well take my spot. And because he couldn't match up to Steven, really, you know what I'm saying? The other Kylo Ren, if you will, his best bet was to try to screw everybody over on the way out the door. I guess. Something to think about.
And just, immersed myself in it so hard, like so many people wanted me to do, I wouldn't have been able to come back and say, hey, we could still play games, we could still chill, we could still do all this stuff. You know?
What do you mean? You didn't care? You weren't really caring much about games anyway. Because those guys wanted to play games with you, and you didn't want to do it. You had Chained Together, which DSP doesn't really give that a whole lot of validity because Mutahar wasn't there. Mutahar hadn't suffered the full effects of the Chris Chan medallion yet, or the Sonic Shoe medallion, sorry. He hadn't suffered the full effects of that yet, but he was smart enough to realize that, hey, I don't need to be going on stream with fucking DSP. So fuck on with that. Then they did Black Ops 6 Zombies with each other. I don't even know if there was supposed to be a fourth person with that. And then, let me throw this up there, just in case you guys might have missed this alley-oop. You know what I'm saying? It's the last. I'm going to go ahead and throw one to the no-fly zone. It's the last one I'm throwing. I'm just kidding. I'm going to keep throwing them. But let me throw you guys another alley-oop. Fucking Josh from the Farms, when he went to do the interview with DSP and Kino Casino, he initially thought they were going to be playing a game with each other. He didn't know it was going to turn into what it turned into. So there's that. There's another missed opportunity. So what the fuck is DSP talking about? There was plenty of opportunities to play games. On top of that, despite fucking Warski being fed up with DSP's shit from damn near day one, Warski did late night gaming. DSP could have hopped on one of those things if he wanted to. They could have done some co-op with each other. And PPP was more than willing to do so. They have the money that he can pick up a console, they can pick up the game, or they can download it, and they can get it done. The fuck's he talking about? So DSP sitting there saying, oh, well, they don't like games. Nobody in their audience gives a shit about games. But when those guys were playing games, it was on and popping. I can't remember when PPP started jumping into DSP's Mario Kart World games. I don't know if he was on stream or not when he was doing that or not. If he was, yet again, the proof is in the pudding. If he wasn't, I want to tell you he wasn't, because I feel like if they were, Andy would be up there too. Andy would be in that lobby as well, which would have been hilarious. I have to go back and look now, but I have a clip because I put it in one of these videos before of PPP in one of DSP's games and shit, and lapping his ass. That shit was hilarious. That shit was hilarious. Oh, fun stuff, fun stuff. Anywho, just throwing it out there. So he can't even say, "Oh, I can't go back to playing games." He could have played games with those guys there. Womp womp.
And I think that, yeah, listen, there's going to be fallout. There's going to be repercussions. There's going to be drama. But the thing is, if you don't play ball, the drama will exist around you, but you won't be in it.
Oh, the ramifications that came from this later. That's hilarious. He really is sitting here thinking he was on some mastermind shit with that dirty Sanchez on his fucking chin. Holy fuck, bruh. Good God. He really thought he was doing some shit. He really thought he was people. Only if he knew what was going to come later.
I know it doesn't really make sense, but that's kind of my situation, how it's always been. I am the center of...
Does it make sense to you? No, it don't. But it should. It should at least make sense to you.
This vortex of drama that happens around me, but I actually aren't involved. I'm not involved in the drama, nor do I really create it. It's all of these people around me, these leeches and fucking, worms that rely on me to have their drama content. If you know what I want to do,
then wouldn't that make you worm food? I don't care about your little retarded hand palm thing. That doesn't bother me whatsoever. It's amusing, if nothing else. So that would make you worm food then, wouldn't it? That's the thing, isn't it? What was it that Chantel or Foodie Beauty called FFG or French Fry Girl, or her mother who was deceased? That was a brutal thing too. Foodie saying that crazy shit is fucking insane, being that FFG is gonna outlive her ass. But anyway, the hell did she say about that woman's dead mother? I honestly want to say that fucking Foodie called FFG's mother worm food and said that she wished that she would die and she would go to hell with her mother and all. Foodie was on some shit when she had said all that. That was an insane rant. And then Foodie, like a coward, went ahead and tried to apologize it later and tried to make peace and this, that, and the third. Boy, the moment you went after FFG's deceased mother, it was on. It was cradle to the grave at that point. It was like, nah. You've entered into a blood feud that's never going to end at that point. That was insane. Damn, I need to go over that actually. That was a fascinating fucking situation between the two of them. You got to be a sick individual to say some shit like that. I've said some fucking wild ass shit too, but damn, to sit there and call another person's mother who passed away recently worm food, gee, you got to be a sick little person to. Foodie's anything but little, but you have to be a sick little person, big person, to sit there and do some shit like that. God damn. Anyway, but yeah, if all the people around DSP are worms, then wouldn't that make him worm food at that point? Just throwing it out there.
My camera keeps activating. It's annoying me. They rely on me to make their drama content, but if I don't engage it, it doesn't affect me.
So what is this supposed to be? You starving people out? How's that gonna work, Phil? Woo! Was that what this is, Phil? You're gonna deprive the trolls, and that's it. You're gonna take away the nourishment, and then they're all just gonna die out. We already tried this, but this is how you don't play. It didn't work. Oh, that's so great. Good job, Phil. You know what, Phil? You're right. You're right. As a detractor, you should starve me out. That's what you should do. You should make your content even worse. You know what you should do, Phil? Let me help you out. Don't do a podcast anymore. Don't do that. Matter of fact, don't even do a face cam anymore. Just play the game. Sit there and play the game. Go ahead and have your voice, you know, say whatever little shit you need to say, whatever. But no face cam, no podcast, and just play. And matter of fact, here, let me go ahead and do you one better. Instead of streaming for 4 hours in the day, which don't mean shit anyway, just stream for 2 hours. 2 hours during the day, and then 2 hours at night. And that's it. And that leaves you more time to spend with your wife. That's the best way to starve people out. Oh, and matter of fact, when people send you tips or contributions or whatever the fuck you want to call it, don't read it out. Just say, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate the contribution. And keep it pushing. You should do that too. That's what you should do. Yep. You should do that. That's a great way to starve people out. Yeah, that's going to be great. Yep. You should do that. I think that'll work. Yeah, I think that'll work great. You should do that, Phil. You won't do that. You won't do that. You need as much attention. Excuse me. You need as much attention as fucking anybody else online and shit who does the shit. Shut the fuck up. You're not starving nobody out. You can't. You need opposition. You need people to talk shit about you. You need people to treat you like shit. That's the only way that you can justify your existence. If your troll stopped, you would stop. End of story. And if you stop, you're dead. Your detractors, trolls, haters, and critics will go on to the next fucking dancing monkey. That's the reality of it. Because I'll give you guys a quick one on this. Well, let's go ahead and circle around Foodie Beauty. She has a pretty big orbit, so we can do that. Foodie Beauty has been saying for years that she wanted people to leave her alone. She wanted people to stop, let her put out her fucking slop content, whatever. The moment Amber gets even the slightest bit of attention, Foodie Beauty's doing something stupid to get the attention back. That seems weird. If you don't want any of the drama and the bullshit, why is it that whenever Amber comes around on her dumb shit, like when her exes were doing their little podcast together, that would have been Becky. Sorry, she goes by Beck now. That'd have been Beck, and that'd have been Destiny when they were doing their little weekly podcast or whatever. And Amber's starting to get all this attention back on her. Why was Foodie Beauty trying to fucking spurg out and trying to get FFG's attention? Which didn't help much because FFG wasn't even streaming as often as she was. I think FFG was only streaming like 2 or 3 days a week, at least on YouTube. She was on Twitch, and she might have started doing stuff on Kick at that time too, now that I think about it. I don't think I ever caught any of her Kick streams, but I did see a couple of her Twitch ones though. It's pretty funny. Anyway, so actually, matter of fact, now that I think about it, FFG didn't go to Kick until fucking Nosferatu or Natter, until he started striking her shit down. And that's when they started doing the retrospectives, and she started doing that on Kick, so she didn't fuck up her bag on Twitch. If I remember correctly, that's how that story went, and so on and so forth. But now that Nosferatu is out, I think he's out of jail now, at least on bail. I don't think the case has been dismissed against him yet. That's the whole thing. Sorry. That's a whole nother rigmarole in itself. Here's the point. Foodie said that she wanted to be left alone. When Amber came back into the mix, and there was all kinds of drama going on around her with fucking, what's his name? Tommy Hilfiger. I'm going to call him that. I don't think anybody calls him that, but I always like the sound of that. When Tommy Hilfiger was in position, and when Beck and Destiny were doing a podcast on her, exposing her shit, literally with that rag, if you know, you know, and whatnot, fucking Foodie was doing everything she can to get the attention because Girl World just shifted back to the true queen anyway, which is Amber. You know what I'm saying? Fucking FFG, or Foodie, sorry, never held the crown. It was always Amber's. You know what I'm saying? Foodie got big enough that she could sit on the throne, but she never held the crown. It is what it is. DSP is no different. If everybody's attention in the DSP detractor verse shifted to whoever, take your pick, whoever, he'd literally get starved out. Most detractors do talk about other fucking lolcows and shit. You kind of have to. You kind of need that level of diversity. But if everybody just up and stopped, DSP would literally fucking panic. And then he would do anything he can and everything he can to agitate people to bring the old detractors back or to try to harvest a bunch of new ones. It is what it is. And this isn't something unique to DSP. All lolcows do this shit. So what are you talking about?
In the least, I can still do what I want to do. I can still enjoy life.
Yeah, just because you can do what you want to do doesn't mean what you're doing is the right thing to do, which is something that this mongoloid still hasn't figured out. Just because you can do whatever you feel that you want, whatever you want to do, doesn't make it right. And it doesn't mean that's going to help you. But he don't care because he's a reactive person and not proactive. He wants to live for that moment. He don't really want to deal with the consequences, knowing damn well there's going to be consequences. He just wants to do whatever he wants to do. And whenever he does something he wants to do, it never helps him in the end. In the end, he almost always gets fucked. Not in the way that him or Cat or Panda would have ever wanted. It's so sad.
And gaming and having this positive community, and we could just shut it all off. Now, the challenge there is shutting it off.
I mean, shut it. You're on the internet, retard. How do you shut the internet off? If you don't want to deal with the internet, get the fuck off. End of story. That's the only way it stops. There's no protections. No one's going to come out here and fight the fight for you and shit. After you ain't sat there giving Brightside Viking the Blood Eagle treatment, there was no one that was going to defend you after that, which actually is a very interesting point, too, now I think about it. I've been meaning to talk about this as well, which I will. I'll do that to nauseating, to a nauseating extent later on down the line. But the actual protections, the actual people willing to step up for DSP and defend him, whether against his detractors directly or on different social medias, pretty much died out after KG, Sammy Samosa, and more importantly, after Brightside Viking got betrayed. After that, all that shit stopped. After that, you had people like Swaggins and all the rest of these guys who were trying to fill the void and put themselves in positions of power and whatever they felt DSP's little hierarchy was. But none of them were ever really out there trying to defend him. They just wanted to have influence in those circles. They didn't actually really want to defend him. It's really just KG. Like, truth be told, it was KG, probably, not probably. It was KG. It was Sammy Samosa. It was Brightside Viking. You could even put some, you could probably put Alex of, fucking A. What's his name? I mean, like I said, me and his mother have been in a loving relationship for years. Fucking, why can't I remember this guy's name? I'm so broken up on why I can't remember this dude's name right now. Just a second. Got it. I actually had to call Milf and Cookies about this, which she's very upset about, and she should be. She should be. Sidella, Alex Sidella. He was the last guy. Those were probably like the last four horsemen of the Gouty apocalypse. Those are, I'm pretty confident they were the last four. After all them guys basically fell from the wayside and shit, with, like I said, Brightside Viking being the last one, he got the Blood Eagle treatment. That was pretty much it. That was the end of the story. And to Sidella's mother, you know I love you, baby. Like, I'm sorry. I just had a brain for it. You know what I'm saying? My fault. You know, but you know I love you. Come on. You know what I'm saying? And I'll pick up some WD-40 for Sidella the next time I'm out. Anyway, so there's that. That's what that situation is and shit. Like I said, you need people. Like, he needs people. Like, you know what I'm saying? DSP can't function on his own. Break down DSP's day-to-day. And look at the people that are around him or whatever. You remove those people, he's got nothing. He can't function without other people. Somebody needs to be there to do something. Whether it's to give him money, whether it's to hand-hold him, or hoof-hold him through games, whether it's moral support, he needs somebody. He's always going to need somebody. Can't do anything on his own. He's absolutely impotent in that in that way, and I'm sure in other ways as well. According to Panda, he's definitely in a bunch of ways, actually.
It is. It's just absolutely 100% ignoring all the nonsense around me. And I've been very good at that.
Sure.
I have. Just there's so much stuff people throw at me every day. If you see drama in the chat, say stop doing it, time person out. If they keep doing it, get rid of them. And that's it. I don't need to know who said what today.
That's not ignoring, but all right.
I don't need to know what new video dropped today. I don't care. I have nothing to do with it. I'm living my life and actually enjoying my life and having a good time.
And why do we have that stress ball? Pretty sure that's what that is. So what do we need that for, Phil? Now let's go back. Oh, what are we grabbing for that stress ball for, Phil?
I don't even know what new video dropped today. I don't care. I have nothing to do with it. I'm living my life
Yeah, that's a stress ball.
and actually enjoying my life and having a good time. And
anyway, you can see it. It's right there behind the sub button. Why the hell are you reaching for the stress ball, Phil? What got you cranked up? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
making a living doing it, making good money now. Things are much better right now than they were previous.
Now, keep in mind, we just came off this broke boy, because that's literally what he is, Pokemon voice, admitting that 2 years ago, he was down bad financially and otherwise, and they were barely scraping by, making ends meet, and they didn't know what the fuck they were going to do. Which, what does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? That puts the emphasis that I've been trying to put since DSP Tries started, him revamping it. It puts a lot of emphasis on that. He needs DSP Tries to keep going. Because now that's part of his budget. That's part of how they eat in that house. That's part of it now. He used to talk all that bullshit. Oh, I don't want Cat to cook. Yeah, I'm sure you don't want Cat to cook. To be honest, we can't even use an air fryer properly. We're sitting there burning fucking pre-cooked hams and shit. We can't cook pizza rolls right in the fucking air fryer and shit. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you don't want her to cook. But the reality is that he's dependent on DSP Tries now. He needs that to happen. He needs it to happen like twice a week. If not, these idiots probably don't even know how to put sandwiches together anymore. That's telling. That's pretty telling.
You know what I'm saying? Flatman B just said it. He said the eye of the storm is peaceful. You're right. I guess for me to be a content creator, I just got to live at the eye of the storm. I just got to be careful that I don't step too far to the left or too far.
That stress ball is dying. I got it. I'm glad I got a screenshot of that shit now. That's stress ball, son. If we're living in the eye of the storm and everything's all calm and shit, what the fuck's he doing gripping that shit for? What the fuck's he all panicking about? See, this motherfucker need to check his blood pressure. This motherfucker need to go to a doctor and get his dumb ass a physical. It's very clear there's problems. There's problems in the fucking Brunel household, and they all three of them are fucked up. All three of them are down bad. We're gripping stress balls, bro. Over nothing. Literally over nothing. A couple of years ago, he used to be able to shake this shit off like this. Well, let's say 4 or 5 years ago. He was able to shake this shit off like it's nothing. Now we're gripping stress balls. When was the last time Kat gripped a ball, Phil? Besides the ball she busted like the first year she was there. That was hilarious, by the way. And he made her clean it up. He couldn't clean it up himself. He made her clean that up. Oh, that was funny. Anyway. I don't know, Phil. Shit don't seem like everything's all right in Gouty paradise, bro. We stressing this bad. Makes you think.
To the right, back into the storm. It'll be interesting to manage it, but I've done it for a long time. So why can't I just keep doing it? And I know I can't. You know, it's just a matter of keeping your head on your shoulders, not losing it, not getting wrapped up in the bullshit, which I'm not going to. I've been here, done this a bazillion times. I'll do it again. We're all good. All right.
Man.
So just to forewarn everyone, that is really it. I'm not going to be doing drama content. Doesn't matter how much people want me to do it. It doesn't matter how many people come at me for it.
Oh, I bet you LTG and Wings of Redemption have something to say about that. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. As times have changed in what? 3 short months. So satisfying. Oh man, I gotta tell you, candied bacon is at its zenith. You know what I'm saying? You just go ahead, if you finish the process and whatnot, just let it sit, let it breathe. Let it breathe. And that's the combination of sweet and saltiness is fantastic. And I've had it right after, because I've made it plenty of times. Right after it's done, it's fantastic there and shit. It's kind of sticky. It's kind of, you know what I'm saying? It's great. You know what I mean? Has, you know what I'm saying? It has great texture, all of that. But boy, if you let that candy part of it just harden just a little bit, oh boy, that's good eating. Woo, baby, that is good eating.
Or scream at me that my life would be better and everything. I don't care. If you lose yourself in it and then you don't feel like, you know, for me,
that's stressful. What's wrong with you, Phil? What's wrong with you? Oh man, take your ass to the doctor, bro. Get yourself checked out. It's clear that you need, you know what I'm saying, go to therapy. You clearly need help. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Trying to be a decent person about this for a minute, but Jesus Christ, Phil. Holy shit. You think you're really gonna be around another 5 years like this, bro? I don't know if Cat's gonna last another 3. I don't know if Jasper has another 2 years in him. But you're not gonna be here for another 5 to 10 years the way you're going. Just saying. It may be time to be a fucking adult and go to the fucking doctor and deal with whatever the fucking prognosis is.
I know that the drama content is where the views and the money is. I'm not stupid.
Oh, you're very stupid. Oh, the months to come prove that, but you're very stupid. Yes, very stupid.
I see everything around me and everyone doing it. That's not who I am. Down here. This is my hand exerciser, by the way.
Your stress ball. We've already seen you exercise your hand. You have already seen your hand exercises at one time or another. May 1st exists for a reason.
Down here, in here, that's not who I am. I'm not the guy who's going to lash out and be mean to everyone around him for personal gain.
Really? John and Howard, Panda, Kino Casino to some extent, Review Tech USA, I would say they would have something to say about that. Respect the pack. Oh shit, respect the pack? Fucking A. Team hate? Oh shit. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like some people would have something to say about that.
Okay? Exactly. Once you put the makeup on, it's impossible to take it off. So that's why I didn't go full-fledged into it and just say...
So you put on partial makeup? What are we doing here? You're so stupid. All right, no problem. I'll let you choose your own adventure, but you're so stupid. He walked into that shit. This mongoloid walked into that shit and still tried to figure... He acknowledged and admitted that he was right and then tries to walk himself back. That's why I didn't go into it fully. Oh, so you put on half the clown makeup. Okay, I got you. Okay, I guess that makes it better.
This is my hand exerciser, by the way. Down here, in here, that's not who I am. I'm not the guy who's going to lash out and be mean to everyone around him for personal gain. Okay? Exactly. Once you put the makeup on, it's impossible to take it off. So that's why I didn't go full-fledged into it and just say, oh my God, let's do drama. You saw how basically I didn't have my heart in any of that stuff last year. You know, I really didn't. I didn't buy.
That doesn't change anything. That really don't. You don't get to sit there and reap the benefits of that situation and then say, oh, well, I wasn't really a part of it. Or because I really wasn't 100% devoted to it. Nah, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. Not at all.
Into it. I didn't like it. Nothing. I didn't think anything really meaningful was coming from it.
You're full of shit. But why did you get so mad at them when they couldn't make the fucking collaborations happen? Why did you even bother going up there and talking to Steven from Truth Seekers if that was the case? Like, what? Like none of that makes sense when you look at it in hindsight.
Entertainment, sure. Profits, yes. Meaningful?
So the entertainment that you put out there and the profits you made weren't meaningful, but you were down bad and everything was all fucked up. So supposedly that money was used to square everything up in the Burnell household, allegedly. That wasn't meaningful, that you were able to provide for your fucking family? It wasn't meaningful for you to put out content that your audience liked, or if not them, another audience that was completely and utterly alien to you actually took some type of solace in? It's not, he's really not paying attention to what he's saying, or he's stupid, which he's more likely because he's stupid, because he is stupid, and he's not grasping what he's saying, which is really fantastic, to be honest with you. Wow.
No. So, I'm happy to be back. I really am. I'm happy to be back, man. And I hope that you guys are happy too. And for those of you who have been so upset over the last 8 months, I'm there with you and I understand. But as you can see, a means to an end. Now at least things are better.
Did he just say he doesn't want to treat people poorly or step on people for his own gain? But couldn't you have said that that's exactly what he did to Rich and Kino Casino in some ways? Maybe that's just me.
Now have the ability to do what I need to do moving forward instead of being Mr. Outdated, Mr. Places falling apart, can't do half the stuff everyone else does, can't play this game, can't
do half of the stuff that other people do. Literal definition of keeping up with the Joneses. But whatever.
do that, can't.
I'm pretty sure he don't like that either, because usually people associated with the name Jones are usually, you know, of that darker persuasion. But it is what it is.
Do this project, can't do this. Now it's like, I can do whatever I want. The sky's the limit.
Oh, you're being serious. Okay, I'm sorry. I should have laughed at you. Fuck, you're sorry. I'm not sorry at all. That's hilarious, Phil. Good job. Yeah, sky's the limit. Okay, gotcha. You know that was a Biggie song, right? You remember? Well, maybe you don't know who Biggie is. Maybe that's a good thing. All right, fair enough. Actually, I'm sure there's other people who've used that as a song name too. Biggie comes to mind above all else right now.
A matter of us brainstorming what's going to work and what you guys would find entertaining, right? So let's do that. Let's do that. Let's sit down together and plan and improve and do fun stuff, right? How does that sound?
And maybe it sound more meaningful if you could do it by yourself. So much for that.
Hopefully good. All right. Hopefully. So, all right. So let's relax today, shall we? Let's relax. Good stuff. Now,
literal definition of a cult leader, where he has to sit there and dictate every aspect of the people who are on his streams. He wants to call other people cult leaders, though. That's amazing. Holy shit. I swear to God, bro. I'm about ready to put a bounty out and be like, yo, anybody who could track down that fucking, anybody who could track down that LSB cult video. Because I know somebody has it. I know somebody has it. Because I think, because LSB says he doesn't have it anymore. So, which is unfortunate. But I get it. But I know somebody somewhere has it on a hard drive somewhere. Or maybe someone has it on preserved tube or something. Somebody has to have that. Damn.
Now, let's talk about what we're going to be doing for the next several days. Oh, I got more shout outs to do, by the way. We're going to do those. Let's just keep going with the shout outs. I got distracted. So thank you.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as DSP has told you, means to an end. He did what he had to do so he could survive. You know what I'm saying? His baby backs were on the fucking grill, the wife and whatnot, aka wife, mom, fucking soulmate, aka soulmate, aka just roommate, marriage of convenience, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't happy. They could barely afford anything. Like I said, that boy's fucking baby backs are on the fucking grill, and in 2023. And basically, he admitted that Kino Casino was a lifeline. If they didn't come through, he was proper fucked. Proper fucked. Which sounds about right, to be honest with you. Sounds about right. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go with this. All right, final thoughts. I'll let you guys go. Oh boy. I think the long and short of it really is that DSP is a user. He needs people, though, to be honest with you. Not that justifies you using people, because that shouldn't be a thing. But like, DSP needs people. And he needs people so he can abuse them, so he can use them, so he can make himself feel better, so he can weaponize them against each other or his opposition, so on and so forth. And I honestly think PPP and Andy were supposed to be no different. They were supposed to be the new John and Howard. That's really what that was supposed to be. And I guess he was somehow supposed to just ride their coattails while he was with them. And then if he decided to break away or whatever, he was going to get residuals off of them and shit. And keep that going. Like, you know, this was YouTube and he was going to live off of his old content. And that was supposed to be his retirement. I guess Kino Casino was supposed to be supplemental income, I suppose, if you will, or a form of supplemental insurance. And it crapped out because, yet again, DSP needs people. He can't do anything on his own. You really look back at it. And DSP sitting there relegating people to a means to an end is, yet again, utilitarianism. If you don't serve a purpose, you're just in the way. And so he'll use you. He's already sized you up, so to speak. to use you for whatever he thinks he could use you for. And he makes it sound like, well, once he's done with you, he just leaves and he moves on. But the reality is, he'll hang around as long as you let him. He'll stick around as long as you let him, unless he really starts to get the itch that you might try to fuck him over, and then he'll preemptively, so to speak, try to attack, which will more than likely fail because there was no thought behind it. He was running off of emotion, and so on and so forth. It really speaks to DSP's character. Not that he is a character, just his character. It speaks to him as a person. It speaks to why he does what he does and why he has failed the way he's failed. Now, you could sit there and say, well, hey, he's made a shitload of money. He's done this, he's done that. No one has said that any of the popular streamers out there were talented people. Let's be honest. None of them were. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who, well, I wouldn't say anybody. You need to have a certain something. Let me be honest with myself and call a spade a spade. You need to have something about yourself that helps you set out. But like, I would have to say, if you look at some of the bigger streamers, most of them are just mongoloids, to be honest with you. Most of them are straight idiots, if you really listen to them. And it's really the example of, since I brought up Biggie earlier, the situation, if you guys have ever seen the Beef series, we talk about rap beefs and shit, it really proves the situation between Nelly and KRS-One. Where if you have, well, realistically, I would say, I want to say Kendrick and Drake, but I can't because they're both under the same label. But I'll go with my original and go with KRS-One and Nelly. It wasn't really about rap. It wasn't even really about rhymes. It was just who had the corporate backing and its saturation. Most people, if you're going off straight bar for bar, would tell you KRS-One won that battle against Nelly. But Nelly had the push. He had the reach. Now, Nelly didn't pull a Jay and try to actually squash songs like what Jay-Z tried to do to Nas during their beef, which Jay-Z still lost that too. Nelly didn't go there and do that. But Nelly's label damn sure made sure that his song was bumping everywhere 3 times, 4 times as much than KRS-One. So it works in that kind of same way. DSP can't do shit by himself. And he's only at his quote unquote strongest when he's latched onto or leeching off of somebody else. Outside of that, he's nothing. And he knows it. This isn't something that, it's not true because I'm telling you it's true. It's true because he's exhibited for years. He's been down bad since the John and Howard breakup in 2015. Realistic is 2014 if you think about it. But in 2015. And it's been downhill from here. And he didn't want to do collaborations with other people because he was scared they were going to fuck him over. Until he got desperate, and then he wanted to do collaborations with the bigger guys because he thought, oh, Moist Critical wouldn't fuck me over because what advantage does he have? He's already rich. He's already successful. So there's no reason. Like, think about it. Think about why he was wanting some of the collaborations with some of the bigger content creators. Why he wanted to do a collab with Max. Well, Max is already well off. He's already extremely popular. Fucking me over is not going to benefit him. Justin Long's another one. Think about some of the people he chose and why. Oh, what value does Medicare really have against me now? He's dying. So, you know what I'm saying? He can say whatever he says, but I'm going to outlive him. And which is one of the reasons why I think he really wanted that Medicare thing. And then he wanted an apology out of him. He thought, oh, he's sick and he's dying. Maybe he'll be remorseful. It's the exact same reason why he targeted Review Tech USA. He went after him when he did because he was vulnerable. He was a wounded animal. His daughter was sick and they thought she was going to die. And he thought he was going to slide right in and be like, oh, I'm really sorry about your daughter. You want to do a collaboration? Want to come on my show? That's what DSP does. And those right there are all the quintessentials of a predator. Sizing up and choosing what's the most vulnerable or what's the most beneficial to you at that particular time. His means to an end is realistically a survival mechanism that has gone extinct. And he's doing whatever he can to keep ahead of the curve. not realizing that the curb is already gone. Something to think about. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. I'll catch you guys for the next one of these, whenever that may be, hopefully sooner than later. Ladies and gentlemen, this is holy shit. That's wild. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Snort Report. This has been DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh, yes, a GTG Network and Productions. For the Snort Report, Hard Snorts Gin and Tonic, Tim Snortons, SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company, and all of our other subsidiaries and affiliates, I've been your host / anchor GTG, and I'm signing off. That last part in particular, I will just let it flow through your noodle for a bit. Just let it flow through your noodle for a bit. I'd love to hear what people have to say, or what maybe your opinion or insight is on it. Take care of yourselves, people. Later.